Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. And for today's video, we are actually reviewing the second book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It's Swift and Saddle by Lyla Sage. No, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Okay, so I thoroughly enjoyed it, book one, done and dusted. And I was like, okay, I have to get the rest of the series. So I placed an online order for in-store pickup for Indigo because I was going back to Indigo twice in a week because I was on vacation. So I was like, I need to pick up the rest of the series. And I am enjoying this one I'm not enjoying it. I enjoyed it so much. I would also give this one another 5 stars. Now I'm like an easy to please sort of reader. So I give a lot of books anywhere from like 4.5 to 5 stars. I give some books like 6 stars. And I sometimes I feel like maybe that will discredit me in like the book review community. But if I enjoy a book, I enjoy a book. I realize I'm not gonna like give a lower review just to try to be somebody that doesn't always give 5-star reviews. If I enjoy the book and it's 5 stars, I'm going to say that. So this one is 5 stars. So some of the major tropes in this one are forced proximity. She's like divorced. That is also another trope. Recently divorced actually. She actually comes from the city to a small town, so it's like forced proximity, small town romance, kind of like workplace-ish romance in it, sort of. So this actually follows actually with the MMC Weston Ryder, who goes by Wes. He is actually Emmy Ryder's brother. So Emmy Ryder is the FMC in book one. And it follows Ada Hart, who's actually friends with Emmy's best friend Teddy, because Teddy met Ada in college. So Ada Hart went to college for like design. She's like an interior decorator and designer, but she actually like I think she pulled out, or like when she only had like a month left because she just felt like it wasn't for her. And so basically Wes in book, I believe it was this book, that they voted on, where the whole family voted to make the old house on the property into like a bed and breakfast kind of, that people could come stay and spend like the week at the ranch, like ride around the ranch, because he wanted his own thing at the ranch. Like everybody had their own thing. Like Emmy was starting towards the end of this book was teaching lessons, like teaching kids how to ride horses and how to saddle horses. And then Wes and Emmy also have an older brother, Gus, who is like the foreman of the ranch. Basically, like he runs everything. Like obviously his father owns the ranch and is like the head guy, but Gus is the one right underneath that kind of like runs the day-to-day operations of the ranch. And so Wes felt like he wanted something for himself on the ranch, so he really wanted to turn the old house, the old main house, into a beautiful like kind of like place where people could stay for a week. And so he needed a plan, and everybody voted on it and agreed. So Teddy recommended Ada, who was an interior designer, and she came to the ranch. And typically the way she liked to do it for her project is she liked to live like on site or as close to the projects as possible to make it easier to kind of be there every day. And so she was supposed to stay in a cabin that they were going to set up for her, but the cabin flooded, so she ends up staying at the new big house, which is where Amos Ryder, which is Weston Ryder's father, lives, also where Weston Ryder lives. So she ends up like living in one of the spare bedrooms, which used to be actually Emmy's bedroom. And so you have the like forced proximity of them living together. But it actually starts off with Ada goes to the bar on the first night that she arrives, because she actually stays at like a motel the first night that she arrives. And she goes to the bar because she's hungry, and Google lied to her and said that Devil's Boot would have food, but it didn't have any food. And then in walks the bar, into the bar is Weston Ryder, but he doesn't actually, he never met Ada Hart in person. He's only like ever emailed her about the whole project. So his dog immediately goes up to Ada, and he goes up to her and eventually like approaches her and says, yeah, my dog likes to go up to beautiful women. And then she ends up like walking away and like walking towards like a hallway. He follows her, and then they end up kissing. And then like they get interrupted by Luke Brooks, who is the MMC from this book, who also owns the Devil's Boot dive bar. And then she ends up accidentally leaving her bag there, and then Weston grabs the bag and brings it back to his house. And then she ends up showing up to the ranch the following day for the project and sees him there, and she's like, that can't be who I've been emailing with. Like that can't be Wes. So she goes into the big house and sees Amos, and assumes Amos is the one that she's been emailing with and that owned the ranch, when it turns out she'd been messaging with Wes Ryder Um, and then they decide, like, she is like, I want to keep things professional, but then those lines sort of get blurred, and he kind of sees like who she is, and how like and how fearless she is and all that stuff, and starts like falling for her, and she starts like falling for him. And then one of my favorite scenes in this book, which I think I have a couple scenes bookmarked as my favorite, because I thought I would share some lines that might entice you. I don't do that with every book, because not every book has like lines that just like automatically stick out to me. But the minute I read this line, I think I like bookmarked my book right away, and I immediately messaged my friends about that. So basically, this because by the way, this book is dual POV, as are most of the books I read. So this is from Ada's POV. She goes, "You don't want me that way, Wes. You might think that you do, but you don't. I'm not the woman for you." Um, and she goes, "My heart broke as I said it, and I had to look down at the floor. If I looked at him, I would start crying. Once I leave, you'll realize, and then you'll find her, someone as warm and bright as you." He was quiet. The silence allowed me to feel the weight of my words. They were heavy enough to crush me. After a few moments, I felt Wes's finger snake under my chin, forcing me to look at him. I thought he would look angry, but he didn't. He looked sincere as he said, "You say you're not nice, or warm, or bright, or any of these other stupid fucking words that people use to describe the sun, but I never asked you to be the sun." I rolled my eyes, trying to move them in a way that would stop the tears from falling. I would rather have the moon anyway. Like, ugh. I read that line, and I actually also posted it on my socials, TikTok and Instagram, because that line was just so well written and so beautiful. And it's like actually been a while since I read like a line that was just like that poetic and that good in a book. And that was just like such a beautiful line, and I think the author did such a good job. And it's just like it's this beautiful thing where like the MMC is like talking to the FMC, is like, well, you have these like expectations of what you think I'm looking for in you, but like that's not it. Like my expectations are totally different. He was like, I just want you as you are. And then there's also another area that I really enjoyed. Basically, she ends up deciding she's supposed to show. Finally, the house is done. The house that they nicknamed Baby Blue, well, he nicknamed Baby Blue, is done, and they're gonna go show. They're supposed to go show his family, but they're also before that supposed to go into the attic of the new big house where they stored a bunch of the stuff that used to be in the old big house that's nicknamed Baby Blue, and sort through it and see if there's anything they wanted to put in the newly renovated Baby Blue, like kind of like bed and breakfast. And so she's supposed to be there, as well as Amos Ryder, which is Wes's father. Wes is supposed to be there, Emmy, and I don't know if Gus was supposed to be there. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. So Wes Ryder arrives in the house. Like everybody is there but her, and he like looks all over the house, and he's like worried, and he's wondering. And then so Emmy goes, "Are you sure she's not meeting us down here?" He goes, "I'm sure." And I'd watched Ada put today in her calendar, time and location included, and she lived by that thing when it came to her job. I pulled up my phone to call her. I walked away from my family, and they continued to talk. Her phone rang and rang and rang, and it went to voicemail. I tried again, and the same thing happened. Try one more time before you freak out, I thought. I tried one more time, and again, it went straight to voicemail. No rings, which meant she turned off her phone. I felt my shoulders drop, or maybe it was my heart. I couldn't tell. She ran. "Did you get a hold of her?" Emmy asked. All I could do was shake my head. I took a breath before I turned around and faced my family. As soon as Emmy saw my expression, her face fell. "Wes," I shook my head before she could finish. I didn't need her to say she felt sorry. I needed to get out of here, so that's what I was going to do. Everyone but Emmy looked confused as I grabbed my hat off its hook and headed for the garage door. "Are you going after her?" Emmy called. "No," I said. "I'm going to wait for her." When I opened the door to the garage, I saw my old truck was gone, the one with the stick shift. That's my girl, is what he thought. And I like that so much because, he also taught her how to drive stick shift because her car kind of went on the fritz and she needed to go into town, and he was like, "Oh, here, use one of my trucks, my old truck I don't use anymore." And she looked at it and she's like, "I can't drive it." And he's like, "Don't worry, like I know you want to keep things professional, but you can drive it." She's like, "No, literally I can't drive it because I don't know how to drive stick." So he anyway drives her into town, but he's like, "I can teach you how to drive stick." So he does. So the reason why he says that's my girl is because he was like, he in that moment he was like, she felt confident enough to like run away with the truck and drive the stick like by herself, and that's something that like made him happy. So she did run away because she kind of had anxiety about everything and felt like she couldn't be like the woman for Wes. So he ends up waiting for her. at the end of the ranch entrance, and she ends up like turning around once she gets to the sign that says welcome to Meadowlark, because she's like, crap, I'm doing the same thing to Wes that my ex-husband did to me, where like her ex-husband in the middle of the night just like disappeared on her, and a week later she got divorce papers, and she's like, crap, I'm doing the same thing to Wes, just like running away, not telling him anything. And she's like, what am I doing? So she turns around. She arrives about 30 minutes later back to the entrance of the ranch, and there is Wes sitting on the hood of his truck with his dog. And she's like, you weren't here like waiting for me, like you didn't actually think I'd come back? And he's like, yep, I was here waiting for you. And it was just like so beautiful, and this was like totally another 5-star book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm actually also over halfway through the third book in this series. I think this whole series is going to be 5 stars, and I really hope that that Lyla Sage either does another cowboy romance series or does another book in this series, like book 5, because I'm thoroughly enjoying it so much. So that is my review of Swift and Saddled. If you want to see my review of Done and Dusted, that is the video before this. So that is all for this video. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at romanceblvd on Instagram and Threads, and at Romance Boulevard fully spelled out on TikTok. I am posting 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So far, I'm trying to post consistently 7 days a week. I know some weeks are off, like last week I didn't post 7 days a week, but I'm trying to post 7 days a week to get more content for you guys to engage with. If you have any more cowboy romance recommendations, you can leave them in the comments down below. I will research them. Unfortunately, I do not have an unlimited book budget, so I may not be able to buy like every recommendation sent my way, but if I look it up and the blurb seems interesting, I may buy the book, and you may see a review of it here. Until the next time, bye!